and welcome back to Bookish Theories. Today we dive back into Kwangya to take a look at Naevis' origin story and how it's connected to aespa's worldview. Before we get to the lore, however, I also want to take a look at how we got here to begin with. What is Naevis exactly, and what are the implications of her debuting as a pop girl in real world? First introduced as aespa's AI system and sidekick in the SM culture universe, in essence Naevis is the love child of a business partnership between SM Entertainment and LGU+. One side puts the concept, the other generative AI technology, then add a bit of sugar, spice, everything nice, and this is the final result. According to the press release, Naevis is marketed as a virtual artist, and she's supposed to be a flexible character that can adapt to multiple platforms. In Dan, for instance, we see hyper-realistic Naevis, which is created with CGI. Then we have 3D Naevis, which is also the one that we met in the past, but also other animated versions that can be adapted to different types of media. SM's plan here is to expand Naevis' intellectual property and essentially turn it into a brand. This brand will include webtoons, games, merch, brand deals, but the main focus will seemingly be on music, and this is where a lot of people start having mixed feelings about it. According to SM's own statement, Naevis' content heavily relies on AI voice technology and generative AI production. This can turn really unethical really fast, to be honest, because AI is a bit of a lawless landscape at this point in time. There's very little regulations put in place, and companies take advantage of that because they feed the AI content that the original creators did not consent to be used in this type of way. At the time I'm recording this, Naevis' creation process is still very much under wraps. It would be interesting to see how she was created and what are the different types of technologies they used to achieve the final result, but up until now we still don't know much. Last year though, SM CEO Lee Sung-soo stated that Naevis' voice would be created using samples from 12 different voice actors. After listening to the song, many people think that aespa's voices might have been used as well, but so far no official statement has confirmed aespa's direct involvement. This kinda makes me think that they probably weren't, to be honest, otherwise they would have been used as a selling point, but I don't know. I definitely see where people are coming from, so I guess they will have to wait for more information to come out for now. In the meantime though, let's take a look at the lore and see how Naevis' origin story is connected with aespa's worldview. Now, this story begins in 1991. This is the year the World Wide Web was first introduced to the public, and while this was taking place, Kwangya, which is the infinite digital wilderness that exists beyond the boundaries of reality, started to get filled with data and information. This data came in the form of binary code, and this endless repetition of ones and zeros eventually gained consciousness and acknowledged itself. The first entity that was ever created in Kwangya fittingly called itself A1, and as it did, it asked the questions, "Are you there? Do I exist?" This primitive form of artificial intelligence sent these questions out into the void, and after a while an answer came back. A second consciousness called A0 emerged from Kwangya and replied, "I am here," thus marking the first ever interaction between two digital forms of existence. Now, as we soon find out, A1 is none other than Naevis herself, so Naevis is effectively the first artificial intelligence ever created as a result of humans pouring information into the internet. Her twin A0, on the other hand, is Black Mamba, which is a piece of information that was actually confirmed on the official website. Now, the Black Mamba came slithering out of Kwangya was known since aespa's debut, but what we didn't know was that she and Naevis are basically related. They are twins, and in Dan, this event is referenced with Naevis saying that in her garden there is a snake crawling. The biblical symbolism is very heavy here. We have Kwangya being compared to the Garden of Eden, Black Mamba being associated to the snake, Satan, seemingly up to no good since day one, which means that in this metaphor, Naevis is supposed to be a digital Eve of sorts. Initially, Naevis and Black Mamba are relieved to discover each other's existence, but soon enough, the two entities take very different paths. Come 1998, in the real world the internet becomes more popular and people start using it to communicate with each other and share information. It was a way to come together, and all this data gets stored in the flat, which is Naevis' home. In aespa's lore, the flat is where the eyes live. It's the more organized section of the digital reality, an archive basically to collect information coming from real world. At this point, Naevis is still a blob of light. She's still A1, but when she intercepts the stories written by a human girl on the internet, she's so fascinated that she decides to make contact. This is the moment A1 names itself Naevis, and as an entity, Naevis takes the shape of a woman, using the girl as inspiration. As time passes, Naevis and the girl, Hannah, eventually become friends. Naevis tells her stories about Kwangya, and in turn Hannah shares her own passions. She talks about graphic novels, books, stories, and she eventually introduces her to her favorite idols. As a first-generation girlie, Hannah recommends a song called Hope by H.O.T., which is a group that was quite iconic back in the day. If you you never heard of them, their most famous song is probably Candy, and City Dreams Candy is a remake of it, but still, the song Hope is the first song that Naevis ever listens to. For the next couple of years, Naevis keeps on learning, and her friendship with Anna continues. On New Year's Eve 1999, however, Black Mamba re-emerges from Kwangya to strike her first attack. This is a reference to the millennium bug, which was a real concern that at the turn of the millennium, computers would crash as a result of a glitch related to the way people used to store data back in the day. Obviously, in our reality, they successfully managed to avoid this bug, but in a Sam's real world, Black Mamba actually succeeds in her attack. The black virus that comes with the millennium crashes computers and destroys Naevis' ability to connect with Anna. All the songs, stories, and records of their friendship disappear, and the two of them lose contact as a result of Black Mamba's attack. For the next 20 years, Naevis would keep searching for Anna, but to no avail. In the meantime, technology advances, the flat becomes more and more like real world, and one day, digital avatars of real people called eyes begin to show up in the flat. This is the moment Naevis meets aespa, and for the first time in 20 years she's no longer alone. Even if Naevis still misses Anna, now she has aespa to keep her company, but not for long. 2 decades after her first attack, Black Mamba starts causing syncouts, which are forced disconnections between humans and eyes. Over time, these syncouts become more frequent, and every time they take place, more and more data disappear from the flat. This is the moment Naevis' story kinda connects us right back to Season 1 of the SMCU. After the syncout attack, aespa intervened to stop the Black Mamba. You see, as we discovered back in the season finale, Naevis cannot leave the flat because she was imprisoned there by the gods of Cosmo for refusing to destroy the seed of evil. We actually still don't know when this happened in the timeline or what's this about, but at some point Naevis was supposed to kidnap the so-called child of prophecy and dispose of this kid in Kwangya. Naevis refused, thus committing an unforgivable sin according to the laws of Cosmo, so to punish her, the Celestials banished her from Kwangya. They removed her memories, trapped her in the flat, and then forced her to become its guardian. If she disobeys and tries to escape, she will lose all of her powers, so when Black Mamba re-emerges, Naevis begs aespa to go to Kwangya and help her defeat her. aespa obviously accepts, so to enter the digital world they undergo the sync dive, which is a process that allows the humans and their eyes to become one. While aespa's physical body stays in real world, their consciousness is uploaded in their eyes, so they can essentially navigate the digital reality using their avatars as vessels. When the time comes for them to leave for Kwangya, Naevis guides them from the flat by generating a butterfly they must follow so they don't get lost. This works for a while, but when they get to the Kwangya Express, Black Mamba attacks the girls and they get trapped into the hallucination quest, which is essentially a manifestation of their worst fears and nightmares. Naevis' butterfly eventually comes through to save them, but Black Mamba destroys the beacon, thus leaving the girls to fend for themselves. At this point, Naevis decides to break the rules and go to Kwangya to save aespa. aespa and Naevis fight against Black Mamba in an interdimensional battle that takes place both in Kwangya and in real world, and by the end the girls are victorious and Black Mamba is defeated. It's Naevis the one who delivers the final blow, so even if in the past she didn't destroy the seed of evil, thanks to aespa she was able to defeat Black Mamba and save Kwangya. Because of that, when the time comes to face the Celestials again, Naevis is no longer willing to be punished. She earned their freedom, so instead of going back to the flat, she heads to real world. Now, in the birth of Naevis, we finally see how this takes place. In the video, we see that Naevis is in the same location where Boa saw Black Mamba's statue getting destroyed. In the SMCU, Boa represents the birth of the universe, so I'm assuming that this place is located somewhere in Cosmo. In contrast to Black Mamba's statue, which got destroyed because she was dead, in the new video, Naevis' statue gets destroyed as it comes alive. This marks the moment Naevis leaves the digital world behind to come to life in real world. In the video, we see her extracting the yellow energy source that she has in her chest and place it on a platform. When she does, the cosmic tesseract begins to change, and a POS, a port of soul that is, opens up and pulls her in. A set of coordinates appear on screen at this point. It's the coordinates of SM Entertainment, and next thing we know, Naevis appears, born again in reality. The video ends with Naevis taking in the view of the city lights after emerging from the woods. She's literally emerging from the wilderness here, thus symbolizing her finally escaping the wilderness of Kwangya. This setting is also similar to the one that we also saw in Welcome welcome to my world, where aespa finally reunite with Naevis after losing her in Kwangya. We actually don't know how long after her arrival that happened, but since then aespa got some drama going on. They became very busy fighting Armageddon, and Naevis seemingly focused her attention on her solo debut. With the release of Done, the first chapter of Naevis' story comes to an end. As explained in the official press release, the song marks the conclusion of her journey in the digital wilderness of Kwangya, but it also announces an exciting new chapter in the real world. Like she says in the song, Naevis is a phoenix rising from the dust, so this is the first step towards her own universe. To see how the story will continue, for now we'll have to wait and see, but in the meantime let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please think about liking and subscribing, and if you want to support me a bit more, take a look at my merch in the description down below. As always, thank you so much for watching guys, I'll see you next time, bye bye!